Yo, welcome back to Bird Dog MMA, where we bet every fight every Saturday. Only place you're gonna find that. But real quick, Michael Johnson, baby. Michael Johnson, baby. We gotta do a little victory lap because you know y'all be giving us grief on here. Span, Crew, Gaudier, Parlay, Moneyline each. 1 unit cash. Ige, Pitbull, Casa, Kopilov, Parlay over 2.5 each. 1 unit cash. Span, sub, round 1, cash. Crute, KO sub, 1 unit, cash. Crute submission, half a unit, cash. Crute moneyline, parlay with fight go in the distance, no, half a unit, cash. Crute moneyline, 2 units, cash. Fugit Dulatov, 2 units, cash. Gaudier Crute span again, 1 unit, cash. Gaudier KO, round 1, half a unit, cash. Prado, I don't care, half a unit, cash. Vittori and Costa, decision no bet, 3 units a pop, void, love those bets. Give me my 300 back. Vinicius Oliveira, easiest bet of the week, 2 units, cash. Michael Johnson, Michael Johnson, 1 unit, cash. 1 unit, cash. Paulo Costa, 1 unit, cash. Paulo Costa, 1 unit, cash. Max Holloway, 3 units, cash. We just pulled in a bunch of units, gentlemen. We had a great night. I appreciate everybody who subscribed. That's the sport. That's why I love betting on this sport. You can have a minus 700 favorite, and the other guy can win. That's why I think this is the most prolific, most lucrative sport you could actually bet on. All right, so that was fun. That was a great time. Um, but back to the Michael Johnson thing. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Let's get right to the fights, all right? Because I'm predicting another hot week. I do have a few good reads. I think we're going to use bankroll management to really protect ourselves on fights we're not confident in, or we think that there's no value, that the props aren't enough value, that the money line's not enough value. I'm going to really attack a few spots we really like. All right, so first fight, Budej Buchecha. Buchecha's only loss is to Omar Kane, who beat Anatoly Malakin. All right, that's the only guy to beat RDR. I faded Budej his whole career. I never thought he was that good. And Buchecha is actually a really good wrestler. He's in good shape. He doesn't look like, your typical big, heavy, sloppy heavyweight. He doesn't just push you against the cage like a shower scene in a movie. He could actually change levels, shoot or double. And I am going to continue the fade train on Budej until it works. Because he's burned me a few times. Because it seems like he cuts weight to get to 265. And he is kind of big. So if Buchecha can't get those takedowns down, we could be in trouble. But for the most part, I'm going to protect myself a little bit. I'll go over the bet later, but I am sniffing a round 1 submission by Buchecha, really good jiu-jitsu player, and he looks in good shape and is actually quite a good wrestler too. So we'll go over that later, but I am sniffing that. All right, then we have Muhammad Yahya versus Stephen Nguyen. I think that Yahya just kind of spawns in every time there's an Abu Dhabi card, because he's a bred fighter there, and I think he gets let out to slaughter. This is the let out slaughter fight of the week. I don't even think Nguyen's that good. I do think he's technical. He doesn't have a huge amount of punch power. He's not the biggest grappler, but after watching some film on Yahya, I don't see really many angles he can win. I saw him get hit with a leg kick, and it looked like me in there, or like an amateur fighter getting leg kicked for the first time. So I am all over Nguyen. The odds aren't really worth it, but it's going to be a little parlay booster for me, and I might even sprinkle some props in, like a late finish for Stephen Nguyen. I think he can grit that one out. Then we have Aslan versus Elikana. I'm really making this quick. Keep it under 15. I think Ebo is used to getting people out of there really quickly, and this is another guy I've been fading for a while. I really don't like fighters who have a lot of first-round knockouts and are new to the UFC. I'll take my chances against the other guy, assuming that we can get a little fraud check. Not saying he is a fraud yet, or he's a good UFC fighter. Not saying he's a fraud at all. But I do think Ebo's cardio seems a little suspect, and I do like Elikana's style. He's kind of crafty. He has good body locks when he gets people down. He's able to wrap those legs around, keep you in a good place, which really chops up the clock and makes the fight extend. If the fight can extend, we've never really seen that from Ebo Aslan. And I think if Elikana can be crafty enough on his feet and get it to the mat enough, I do think he has an angle of winning. And again, we are not This is not a pick'em page. This is a degenerate gambling page. We're here to find spots that can make us money without exposing ourselves. So, if I were to bet Ibo Aslan, I feel like that is really exposing myself by putting a bunch of units on a minus 250 favorite. I would rather take Elikana sub. It's pushing 1,000 for a quarter unit. And again, I'm an everyday bettor. I have bills to pay. A unit for me is $50. So a quarter unit is 15, $20. I would rather have $20 risk on Elikana to win, $100 or $200, however that amount comes out to, than putting a whole bunch of units on Aslan when anything could really happen. And if Aslan does win, it's congratulations, you win $10. So I'm gonna go on Elikana's side on that one. I'll go over the best later. Just stay tuned. Most likely Elikana sub. All right. Then we have Ribas Ricci. It's a high-level women's fight. It will be a good fight. I think over 2.5 is a good parlay piece. I do like Ribas, but again, I've been burned too many times betting that. I think they're pretty close on paper. So I am going to save over 2.5 on a parlay piece and not really get into the technical breakdown too much. We're going to move on to the next because I'm trying to keep it under 15. Then we got Grant Blackshear. I saw that Blackshear is a little sloppy on the feet. He has been falling in love with his hands a little bit. I think he strikes a little bit too much, and Grant is super tough. I would do decision no bet on Grant, but Grant could get subbed or he could KO Blackshear. You see that? I was laughing when watching film last night, man. I thought it was the funniest thing because this guy isn't really technical. He has strong leg kicks, and he kind of comes at you like one of those wacky inflatable tube men, just looking to find your chin. And when he puts people out, it's comical. It's actually really comical. So it's scary to bet against him, especially you saw what happened when Blackshear fought, what was it, Montel Jackson? But I do think he's good enough on the ground to nullify what Grant does best. So I'm going to use that as a parlay piece, and I even might go Blackshear sub. Yeah, actually, let me put in Blackshear sub. Yeah, mark that in. I'm gonna go Blackshear sub. Now that I think of it, I just talked myself into it. So Blackshear sub, I'll probably go half a unit, along with a parlay. Then we have Leo Salikov. I think Leo is young, juiced to the gills. He's fighting at the same place he was robbed. Thank God, because I did not have him in that fight. I was for sure thinking he won that fight, and I was kicking myself because I was like, I knew he had what it takes to win, but I didn't think that he would get it in Abu Dhabi. And that's exactly what happened. So he's coming back to the same place he was robbed. Give me a Leo KO. I'm going to also parlay him. I'm all over Leo this week. I think that's my lock of the week. Salikov is 41. His chin's kind of fading a little bit. He's the king of kung fu. He likes to stay on the outside. He's plotted, but he's also the smaller guy. And the way Leo fought last time, he was really head hunting. So I'm going to leave that as a parlay piece. Again, these odds are super juiced. We're kind of in that boxing era, ladies and gentlemen, to where, like, when I started betting, I've been betting on the sport. I've bet on basically every single fight on every single card since 2019, and I actually have done pretty well. And when I started, you could get a Aljamain Sterling plus 300 against Peter Yan and put 2 units on it and walk away with $400, right? Those were the good old days. We're not looking at that anymore. I love that the sport is popular. I'm not one of those, oh, you're a casual. I like that we have new fans. I think it helps the sport grow. I think that's a really good thing. But what comes with that is that these odds are shifting so much more. Like last night, I was looking at Krylov. He was minus 180. He's pushing minus 200. Like, to me, that's getting to the point where is it worth it? So we're in the era of where you do have to put 2 parlays together. You do have to bet some props. But the smart thing to do, I'm telling you, I've been doing this for a really long time, is to protect yourself with bankroll management. So you don't want to go too crazy on fights that you're not confident in, like what we already did, where we had Buchecha. We did a half a unit, which is $20, $25 on a prop play. And that's what we're going to do in some of these fights, just to protect ourselves. And then in the spots we do like, we're going to hammer them. And then other spots that we kind of like, we hammer them like we did last week with Vittoria and Costa. The decision, no bets. Throw a bunch of units on that if you think the guy's tough enough to keep it close. We're also going to do a few spreads as well. All right, then we have Mitchell versus Said Nurmagomedov. This one I really went back and forth on. You see that Nurmagomedov name and you really think he's going to get this done. He has good grappling. But then I watched the film. So what I saw in film versus Nurmagomedov, I did not like the ground control time that he spent on his back against other opponents. And Mitchell is dropping down a weight class. I know it might be a knee-jerk reaction, but I do think he's strong enough. He's like bullheaded enough to win a decision against Nurmagomedov. Saeed said he seems to have some quit in him, and a lot of fights he's been bailed out by these ninja chokes. He's been routinely out grappled. He can't get his offense going really when he's pressured, and he has a questionable gas tank. He never really looks good in round three. And Bryce is really, really good at dominating positions. He's really, really good at dominating positions. And he's smart enough not to get guillotined, I think. You saw that little clip with Eddie Bravo. He has really good setups into his twister. He has really good setups into his submissions. He has very good positional awareness, good American wrestling, baby. Good old-fashioned American wrestling from Arkansas. He's strong. He's corn-fed. And I think he got guillotined or ninja choke, whatever it was, by Silva because it was unexpected. You're fighting a striker, your whole camp, you're spending it to not get knocked out, and then this guy's just coming and bullying you and putting you in these ninja chokes. So I am actually going to take a stab at Mitchell here. I wish I caught that earlier before the odds kind of ballooned him a little bit, but he's still bettable. So I'll probably end up just playing his money line. I'll get back to that at the end at the betting breakdown. Then this one, Krylov, Guskov. Listen, I see a lot of people on Guskov. I get it. He looks scary. He fights scary. I do get it. Guskov is a dog. I know people like him. I think he has a huge deficiency on the ground, though. We saw that against Volkan Ozdemir. He looked absolutely clueless on his back. Like, really, really clueless. He rolled from referee's position onto his back and gave Volkan Ozdemir full mount. And his cardio looked atrocious. After round one, he almost always looks tired. And Krylov is a three-round fighter, who's really grapple heavy. And even when he does get tired, he can still grapple. And Guskov has to end it in round one if he wants to win this fight. Krylov got caught coming in, trying to grapple versus Reyes. That's why I took Reyes in that fight, because I noticed when he does come in to grapple, he's a little sloppy. And I think Reyes really had that technical striking where he could throw pipes down the middle. He has really good straight punches. And one thing I noticed with Guskov is he doesn't really have straight punches. Even when he throws a jab or a cross, they always come off almost like looping. So they're kind of hard to see, but they're not straight down the middle. They kind of go behind the ear. And I think that works in our favor if we want to bet Krylov. Krylov loves to push the grappling. And I think if it gets to the ground, honestly, it's over. I think Krylov can sub him. I think Krylov can lay and pray for 3 rounds and win by decision until they're both tired. I can see a scenario where Krylov is on top, Guskov is turtled up, and he's kind of, exhausted but still hitting him. You've seen that in fights with Krylov. I'm honestly shocked how many people like Guskov after watching film. I think people are watching more highlights than actual film. Go back and watch a few of his full fights, and I think you'll see what I'm talking about. I think people are trying to fade Krylov more than bet Guskov because, Reyes really messed up a lot of parlays on that last pay-per-view card. A lot of people had Reyes losing, but people were sleeping on Reyes. So I think a lot of people taking Guskov is more of a fade Krylov after what Reyes did to him, but you can't sleep on Reyes. He had a few bad outings, but he's still a top-tier fighter. So give me Krylov. I'll probably go Krylov money line. I'll go over the bet later.